Alright, welcome back to the channel everybody. We have another build guide for last Epoch. This time around we are playing Warlock WitchFire. When we saw on the patch notes for the next patch in 1.1 that WitchFire would get some significant buffs, I had to play it, I had to try it out, and I theory crafted, we prepared the character, the patch dropped, we got our boost in our damage, and we even killed Labyrinth a couple of hours afterwards. It was pretty smooth. This was one of the smoothest experiences that I had so far with any of my characters, from start to finish, from the campaign. Once we get Fissure from Warlock, everything was really fun, and it is also the fastest character I think that I ever gotten to level 100 after all the EXP changes, of course. This character farms EXP at enormous fast rates and also a lot of favor along with that. If you can see over here, I'm sitting at 586,000 and I've been spending my favor like crazy. So let's start by explaining a few mechanics about this build. WitchFire. WitchFire is a single stack element that does 600 fire and 600 necrotic damage over 12 seconds. Now, of course, WitchFire does not have its own skill tree. It can only stack once. So how do we scale it? We scale it with Grimhild's domain here, and we are gaining more WitchFire per our ignite chance and more WitchFire damage per our dam chance. Now, this counts ignite and dam chance from our gear and from our passive tree, not inside the skill trees that apply the WitchFire. Keep in mind that the skills that apply the WitchFire don't apply their more multipliers on the WitchFire as well. It's something entirely separate. So we need to find the ways to scale that dot quite well, and this is why I chose this particular setup on the passive tree and of course on my gear that we'll see later. Now, how do we spread WitchFire? Whenever we are gaining Ignite or Damned Overload, we are gaining Damned Overload when we cast a Necrotic skill and enemies around us have 20 stacks or more Damned, and same for Ignite with 25 or more stacks. All of the overloads and the WitchFire, they all last 12 seconds. That means that you basically recycle your WitchFire whenever you're getting overloads. And also for our echo play, you need to understand that WitchFire is basically on kind of a cooldown of a 12-second cooldown, because whenever you are gaining our ignite and damned overload, you cannot refresh the duration, you cannot get them again. So basically that means that when they run out, you're gonna get your next set of overloads and you will spread WitchFire, right? Also keep in mind that there is a line here that says, additionally, while you have ignite or damned overload, your hits spread WitchFire to a number of enemies. This does not appear to work right now. It will be reported from me. As you can see, we already have our WitchFire, but we cannot apply WitchFire right now because we are not gaining a new overload on this enemy, right? Once we refresh it, then the WitchFire applies. So it doesn't matter that much for single target because we have 100% uptime anyway. So, but it is a little bit annoying on echoes. I hope that gets fixed, and it's gonna be a huge boost on our build during map farming basically. Now, one more thing that I want to mention here is that we are using Chaos Bolt, which is fire and necrotic, and also Chthonic Fissure, fire and necrotic. So both of our skills apply WitchFire when we have when we are gaining. Both of our skills give us our overloads and apply WitchFire. I'm gonna show you two different setups. One of them that I'm using on my echoes. Don't worry, they're not hard. It's just one skill that we are choosing. This is how I run my echoes. This is how I run my bosses. Now we take advantage for bosses. This was one of the suggestions when we were experimenting with the build. It was one of the suggestions from one of my viewers on Twitch, and it works pretty damn well. It's a little bit more relaxing, so we tried it, we liked it, we kept it. So we are getting this Note right here on Chthonic Fissure, and basically whenever you're casting Infernal Shade and the Chthonic Fissure hits it, they absorb it, and they're getting more frequency on the spirits. That means that they apply more ignites and dams. We don't scale that much their damage, but it's still a little bit better single target, so that's why we kept it. Once you have enough gear and you start pushing corruption, doing more difficult bosses, it's a good tech. We're gonna explain more on the planners later on about this one. For the time being, I'm gonna show you an Echo, and we're gonna move in for the build. Do remember though to hit the like and subscribe button, because it helps me a lot and I can provide you more content like that. Okay, let's get into an Echo here real quick. As you see, we already pushed 570 corruption, we already pushed 600 as well. I'm just going up and down in corruption because I'm farming for my 3 LP hexagonus. It's very tough to get right now. We completed already 600 echoes on this timeline. This build is so smooth and pretty fast as well. Now when we're running our echoes, we're popping our fissure, casting a couple of chaos bolts, and that's about it. The rotation is very simple. You can use your bunkers for your echo farming, for some rares, for some nemesis or exile mages. Increase your damage, it applies a bunch of cares for us. And of course we have profane veil. I'm gonna show you right here. Couple of cables, bunkers, and then we profane veil, we increase our damage. Everything of that will be explained more on the skill trees, of course. I prefer this bunker setup for echoes for one reason and one reason only, because it's very smooth during echoes. You don't have to cast any Infernal Shades or anything like that, but just to make things a little bit easier on ourselves, whenever we are on Profane Veil, I'm gonna show you that on the skill tree of course, we are actually applying Infernal Shades as well. So that means that we get more bonuses from our Chthonic Fissure Torment Spirits. We are running a lot very fast on our echoes as well, because we are going up to 100% movement speed. Even though we are getting seal stacks from our last steps of the living, it doesn't matter. Warlock has the best haste node in the passive tree in the game, and we have an amazing fast clear. Let's check out our planners. I'm gonna give you the initial planner, how you can start the build and have a good time with it, and of course I'm gonna give you the importation of my character, what I'm doing for Endgame, a little bit more aspirational, you know, legendaries and all of those things, and a little bit of a differentiate on the setup as well, so do check it out. Let's start with our passives real quick. Now for the Acolyte, we are getting all of our intelligence, and we're traveling here for more ward detention and necrotic poison resistance. I'm grabbing the armor to travel, and keep in mind that this node right here, Eye of Damnation, is gonna give you more dam chance and more necrotic damage, so basically it's gonna scale your WitchFire. If you need a little bit more single target early on, please do go for it. For the leads here, very simple. We are getting Dance with Death. This is more damage while you're low life. It triples, so we are getting 120% more damage. And we are traveling to points here to convert all of our health leads into increased damage. Now this is important. This takeover here, this is something that Acolytes do. You only get if you hit something like that on your fire started torch. Melee damage leads as health. This is the prefix that we want. This one basically turns into 100% or 110% increased damage and applies to all sources. You can even get exalted here, but that's another thing. If you don't have something like that, you don't care about those points. And of course, you can always, instead of the damage, take the intelligence and also a little bit of mana regen along the way. Intelligence very good for us, of course. It boosts our ward retention, increases our damage, and everything is good. Chaos Flames, very important. We are getting Ignite and Down Chance wherever we can. And we are getting increased damage over time here, and 5 points only for the threshold, the more damage over time to cursed enemies. We are always cursing enemies, and of course we have the Warlock passive, which is 4% more damage generic per curse on the target. I like very much Iron Armor. We are getting armor and health out of it, and of course more armor per curse on the target makes us a little bit more tanky. We are opting into getting the Ward Decay threshold per 1% necrotic resistance. Now we are not scaling necrotic resistance per se on the build, and in the end game we do opt out from those points. But early on, I like it. It's free Ward Decay threshold. The ward gain on kill from this node is not bad either for your early echoes. So I think it's gonna boost your survivability quite a bit and gonna make your build very smooth. Ignite Chance here and Ignite Overload. Damn Chance here and Damn Overload. Of course, I already talked WitchFire and Grimhild's Domain. We are gaining, of course, the best haste node that exists in the game right now. Haste on kill, haste chance when hitting boss or airs, and of course haste effect. I like Vessel of Chaos very much. The threshold with 5 points gives us more damage over time per overload, 3% more damage over time. I tried incorporating more overloads to take more advantage of this, but the points are a little bit too high to invest for bleed or poison overloads, so I opted out of it. Malefic Body gives us intelligence and vitality, both very good. Vitality of course scales our health, so it scales a lot of things for our low life, and cast speed makes the build a little bit more smooth during echoes, and increases your single target through your Chaos Bolt cast. And we have Anguish here. I'm only taking 1 point here. This is mostly for our single target. It's just another curse to get the more damage over time here, to get a little bit more defense and everything else that we scale from our curses as a Warlock. Let's move on to the skill section here. Chthonic Fissure here. We are getting the mana cost, very important to get full mana cost, and also the refund is very good for our mana. It's actually fantastic right now. We are traveling up here to get our Chaos Bolt chances from our spirits and make the fissure better and longer. We are also getting fire and necrotic resistance shred from our Chthonic Fissure, so we don't have to worry about them. It's a little bit extra damage, and in the initial setup I'm also getting the plus 3 down stacks every time the spirit hits an enemy, because it's basically 300 down chance for free. It's very good early on. We are opting out later when you have a lot of gear, and just more damage over time here, and more damage over time here from the eradication. This one is the most important. It's a very nice multi. This one is a little bit extra if you have the points. Chaos Bolts, Ignite and Damn Chance, and of course we are getting Grave for 2. This is very important to mention, because we are getting 1% more damage over time per 20 missing health on our character. We are low life build, we always miss our health, so this one boosts our Chaos Bolts and the Ignites and Damns that it applies quite a bit. A little bit of quality of life here with the burn. It extends our Chthonic Fissure whenever we are casting directly our Chaos Bolts, which we do all the time. Cast speed here, and I'm going for Reaper of Mayhem. This will proc Harvest on the enemies from our Chaos Bolts, and also from the Chaos Bolts from Chthonic Fissure. But you need to have a little bit dexterity to make this work very well with for you. Harvest actually gives us a lot of good things. I'm gonna show you in a second here. And of course, Reblood, another spell that boosts us. Reblood is not mandatory, but I really like it, because as you will see here, it is our generator, our ward generator. We are we are converting the Blood Orbs into ward from this node over here, Arcane Fortress, and we are traveling right here. We're boosting the ward that we are getting, and of course we are boosting it further with our intelligence. We are getting the blood spatters because those are more hits, more ignite, more damned, and a little bit extra damage. Our Reblood is not gonna do amazing damage, but we don't have better things to spend with our points, so we are free to take it. Harvest is doing a lot of things, and I'm very happy with it. First of all, we are getting 12% kill threshold. We are also getting spirit shards that they are stacking whenever we are whenever harvest is being used by our skills onto enemies. Whenever you hit 13 shards, you're getting 10 mana back, and you're getting your shards very, very fast. If you have about 15 to 20 dexterity, so you are never running out of mana. It is a very, very good mana generator if you set it up properly. We're also getting a little bit of ward here, and we are traveling down here because I just love this thing. We have 20% more movement speed on crit from our harvest because we are getting flat crit here and a little bit of global crit here. It actually crits quite a bit, so this is very, very consistent, and that's why I'm using it. Profane Veil is one of our defensive skills. Of course, we are getting the Spirit Plate. Our armor mitigation is applying to dodge, because whenever you are on your Profane Veil, you are dodging all hits, but you can still take damage from damage over time effects. We are making it longer, and we're gaining movement speed over here. This one cleanses our elements once we are getting into Profane Veil. Unfortunately, it will not cleanse the Marks of Death that we are applying to ourselves, but also to our enemies. So this is reducing our enemies' resistance even more. Mark for Death, if you don't know, it's reducing 25% on all resistances on our enemies, and of course it only stacks once. We're going down here because I want to proc Bonkers from our Profane Veil. So basically it casts Bonkers on our location whenever you are entering and exiting Profane Veil. It also casts from the secondary area as well, so it's pretty good. The secondary area kind of chases enemies as well, so on bosses for single target, you just enter Profane Veil, avoid any abilities that you want, and the secondary area will chase down the boss and apply Bonkers and other curses, just like here. Penance is an extra curse for our single target. Now that we've done the skills, let's get into the gear. As I mentioned before, we are a low life build. There is also another thing that we are gaining from low life, and that's whenever we have damped overload, we are gaining more damage for our damped stacks per our missing health, and on missing health on enemies. This one is not that important. And important to note though that Ignite Overload provides you with 1% more fire damage per 20% ignite chance, which means that while we are scaling our WitchFire with Ignite, we are also gaining more fire damage, which of course scales our WitchFire from our Ignite Overload. That's why I chose Soulfire here. Soulfire has implicit up to 30% ignite chance. It has up to 160% ignite on hits with fire and necrotic skills. So please make sure that you have as high as roll as you can on this node. This is the only node that matters. Soulfire is very easy to get with 2 or 3 LP, so try to get tier 6, tier 7 intelligence. Cusp is very good. Frailty is fantastic because we don't have any other place to put it. You can go for your gloves or your necklace if you don't hit it there on the exalt affixes. I love frailty on Soulfire. You can also go for life, of course. Life is very good for us. Another choice is Firestarter Stores. Firestarter Stores will give us spreading flames on hit, will give us more fire damage to the enemies that we have put spreading flames, a little bit fire damage over time, but most importantly we are getting the minus mana cost for fire skills, and we can add another minus 5 mana cost for spell skills in general. So our Chaos Bolts cost 1, our Rebloods cost like 3 or 4 mana, our Harvest cost 0. We are reducing quite a bit our Chthonic Fissure, and because we already took a lot of mana reduction on our Chthonic Fissure, and we have the refund, we have no mana issues whatsoever on the build. Of course we are going Exanguinous and the last steps of the living for our low life setup. On Exanguinous, try to get health and apply damped on hit. Both of them are really good. Even if you get a tier 7 apply damped on hit and tier 5 increase health, this one is still fine. So you have options here on Exanguinous. This is a setup that I'm giving you here, so try your best to get something good on it. It's gonna help you a lot. Last steps of the living, of course, movement speed, intelligence, hybrid life. You can even get some cooldown recovery rate. You can get fortification for reducing your crits. A lot of options for last steps of the living. So almost anything that you hit on a 2LP, especially pair of your last steps, is gonna be really good for you. When it comes to gloves, I do hope that you can find a pair of Eternal Gauntlets. It's gonna give you nice amount of armor and mitigation damage over time. We're a little bit susceptible on that one. And of course, cast speed, missing health, you can craft this with a Glyph of Insight. Hybrid health, flat health, fortification, everything is good on the suffixes. For the helmet, damn chance, increased life, intelligence, fortification, flat life, very simple stuff. And for the helmet, we have plenty of different bases that you can go. Immortal Crown is very fine. Raven Crown is also pretty good. Revenant Mask would be my ideal because you're gaining a little bit more reduction from crits, but Profane Crown is also very good. All of the Argolite bases are very nice, so whatever you find the best exalted and you can craft it, you go for it. Praetorian Belt, my preferred basis for the belt, of course. You want some kind of life here. Tier 6 increased health, Tier 7 increased health, Tier 7 flat health, hybrid health, whatever you can get, and add fortification as well so that you can reduce the damage we're taking from crits. On the prefixes, very simple, necrotic and elemental damage over time, but of course I will mention it. I always love this tier 1 seal here with the ward and ailment cleanse on potion use. Even if you don't have the prefixes, if you can add this prefix and you don't even need to seal it, get cleanse on the build. We are gaining seal stacks on ourselves from our last steps of the living. We are gaining mark for death from Profane Veil, so it's a very nice quality of life to have cleanse on your potions. Opulent focus for our offhand catalyst. This is intelligence and ward retention. It's pretty fantastic. Make sure that you have a well roll implicit. You can get tier 6 cast speed or tier 6 or tier 7 damage over time. Both are very good. And I have left the suffixes open for a reason. On our current setup right here, if you can see, it doesn't count very well, especially the rolls from Nihilist. So you will be missing a little bit of resistances. You can add them on the opulent focus, and the physical, you can add them on the slots, on the one by ones on your idols. So it's not hard to cap your resistances. I'm using carcinization, swiftness, very good. As I said, the build is very speedy, as you saw from harvest, from haste effect, from everything that we are getting. So I love this. Try to get as maximum attributes as you can. +6 is fantastic if you want to activate your red ring, because we are a little bit tight on our attributes on the build, so make sure that you're getting a good one here. You can also add a secondary prefix for strength, for example, for more armor, and of course more attributes to activate your red ring. If you don't have red ring, if you don't have nihilist, do not worry, just use any good amulet and ring with intelligence, with life, elemental damage over time, necrotic damage over time, generic damage over time, resistances to cap your resistances. Anything is completely fine until you get into that point. Let's do the idols real quick. Now I'm using two types of idols. One of them is increased damage over time while on low life, and the other one is increased damage over time while you have an ailment overload. Both of them are really good. This one actually rolls a little bit higher on the prefix, so if you can get a fantastic roll on this one, of course use this one. There are two suffixes on both of them that you can use, either life or ward retention. We are scaling a lot of ward retention. I'm currently sitting at 650 ward retention, and you can also, if you are covered with your resources, you can gain here the ward retention and life. Small Lagunian as well. It's gonna boost your damage from your life and missing health, and of course it's gonna boost your ward generation. Let's go through the blessings real quick. Spirits of Fire, Flat Armor, Age of Winter, Increased Armor. I love this combination. I very rarely change it unless it is necessary for the build. We are getting all resistance from Reign of Dragons. Early on you can get crit avoidance if you need it. The Lagoon Blessing, I'm getting the War Decay Threshold, but you can also get the line resistance if you need line resistance into your build. And for the Black Sun, I heavily suggest you take Ignite Suns on hit here. This will boost a lot of your damage. You can also get Void Resistance or Life, whatever you decide. I'm liking Ignite. And of course, follow the Outcast, increase experience, higher favor gains. Now, I'm gonna show you real quick what we are doing with the planner at the end game here. And let's take a look-see, shall we? So, on the end game, as I said, we are pumping Infernal Saint. We are changing our skills a little bit. Profane Veil. Profane Veil, we are traveling. Right here, we are converting into fire. That's not important, but we want this node over here. And this one, whenever you are first damaging with Profane Veil your enemies, it has a chance to apply Infernal Shade, which means that the Chthonic Fissure will consume this Infernal Shade through Return Blow and will give you more frequency. Will apply more damn chance, more ignites, and it's gonna increase your damage. That's why we're boosting Spirit Accuracy here, and we are not getting the damn stacks that we were previously getting. Now, also keep in mind that you can opt out of those points, generally speaking, and self-cast your Infernal Sage on your single target. Anyway, you will be doing that anyway. Because it can, Chthonic Fissure can actually absorb up to 4 Infernal Sage. So basically what you are doing on your bosses, you're casting your Chthonic Fissure, you apply Infernal Sage, it gets consumed, Infernal Sage, it gets consumed, and you're increasing your frequency from your spirits. But you can always take a lot more points on Scorn. Scorn is a fantastic, more global damage over time while you are on Profane Veil, and because you are increasing your duration here, it actually gives you a lot more damage from your damage over time on while you're dodging things on your Profane Veil from bosses. This is not necessary. Personally, I love it because whenever you're casting curse skills, Chthonic Fissure or any other curse skill on your bar, like Bone Curse during our echoes, it reduces the cooldown from Profane Veil, so you're more safe on your echoes and of course on your bosses as well. We don't change any of the Chaos Bolt or the Harvest, of course, and Reblood. Everything is the same when it comes to our things here. As you might notice, if you take a look, I have an insane once upon a time, body armor. I'm trying to get 3 LP Exank to slam this on the slam. I don't want to waste it on a 2LP. I might have to settle at some point because I want to push more corruption with the build. This build has been fantastic for me. I had a lot of fun. I hope that you do as well. And I will catch you on the next one. Thank you very much, guys, and bye.